Yeah.
Sorry? No. My purpose, really. Thank you.
What is the purpose of the video?
Do I have to answer that question?
Well,
just make a little video on Bot Free Group at the moment.
What for?
Oh, just for social media.
No, I don't want it done, thanks.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Well, it's our company and I'm asking you not to do it.
Well, I can see it from the road, so...
Yeah, well, can you not film, please?
Well, I will, but I'll also...
Call the police for me, because you're not...
Call the police for someone with a camera?
Well, yeah, because you've done it to them over there.
Yes. And I got my drone as well, so we'll be sending the drone over to get some drone footage, so...
You're not doing it?
If you're doing 911, not saying 999, 101, sorry.
999.
999?
Yeah,
what are you going to report? A man with...
Please.
Oh, let me hear this. Man with a camera.
Please. It's harassment.
You've come out and harassed me, I'm not harassing you.
Hi there, and there's just on the industrial estate in Louth, and there's a strange chap walking around filming businesses and says he's sending drones up and taking footage and just... Well,
the situation begins when a store employee calls 911 after noticing a man photographing several storefronts. During the call, the employee describes the individual as strange, simply because he is standing outside taking pictures of nearby buildings. From the caller's point of view, the behavior appears unusual and raises concern. However, the man is not hiding what he is doing and is openly recording while standing in a public place. In reality, photographing buildings and businesses from public areas is generally lawful. People do this every day for reasons such as journalism, travel, research, or personal interest. Simply recording what is already visible from public property does not automatically make someone suspicious, and curiosity alone is not evidence of wrongdoing. When someone is labeled suspicious without clear facts, it can lead to unnecessary police responses. Emergency services are meant for real threats and urgent situations. Reporting activity that is actually lawful can divert police time and resources away from genuine emergencies where help may be needed. When officers arrive, the expectation is that they will calmly review the situation and determine whether any law has been broken. Instead, the interaction becomes tense, with warnings about possible charges despite the lack of any clear offense. Situations like this show how quickly misunderstandings about civil rights can escalate. When assumptions replace careful judgment, ordinary activities can turn into unnecessary conflicts, highlighting the importance of understanding the law and responding with patience and clarity.
I think it's this one that called you, wasn't it?
so what's the crack? What's going on?
Just doing a bit of video today.
Sorry?
Just doing a bit of videoing today.
Okay, what's the purpose of the video?
My purpose, really.
No, what's the purpose of the video?
Sorry? No. My purpose, really. Thank you.
What is the purpose of the video?
Do I have to answer that question?
Well, yeah, because it may be that you're breaking the law by if you...
Doing what? What law do you think I've broken?
Well, we'll start with GDPR rules.
Okay, that's nothing to do with the police. Is it?
Is it not?
No. And it isn't anyway, because I'm in public, I can film anything I can see in public, can't I?
Yeah, you can film in public, but if you're overflying private premises and videoing stuff that's on there, then that becomes a little bit of an issue.
No, incorrect, officer, I'm sorry, incorrect.
One moment during the encounter, the officer makes a surprising claim, suggesting that the auditor may have violated GDPR. The auditor immediately challenges that statement and explains the issue with that interpretation. GDPR is primarily designed to regulate how organizations, companies, and institutions manage and protect personal data. It is not normally intended to control the actions of private individuals who are simply taking photographs in public spaces. Even so, GDPR is sometimes incorrectly mentioned when people want to challenge or stop public photography. In most situations, taking pictures in areas open to the public is allowed, especially when there is no private or restricted setting involved. Simply holding a camera and recording what can already be seen by anyone passing by does not automatically create a data protection problem. When legal terms are used without a full understanding of what they actually mean, it can easily lead to confusion. It may also create the impression that the law is being applied in ways it was never meant to be used. This can make ordinary interactions more complicated than they need to be. Clear communication and accurate knowledge of the law are important in situations like this. Referring to the correct rules and legal standards helps keep discussions fair and focused on the facts. When everyone understands the legal boundaries, misunderstandings are far less likely to turn into unnecessary disputes.
Balloon glider goes over, they're not allowed to video, is that what you're saying?
Well, aeroplanes won't be able to pick up as much detail as a drone flying some specific premises.
Small aeroplanes?
What is the purpose behind
Now, what interest do you have in filming?
It's fine. I like industrial estates. I'll go to industrial estates making videos of companies I find interesting. Are you recording? It's flashing. There's a green light flashing.
Yes, it is.
Is that recording?
Flashing red, then I'll be recording.
Right, okay.
The green is not recording, so
Right,
what law
because
am I broken?
we don't know, you see, so we don't know that. So, but if you are not recording, that's fine. But you would have, one of your procedures you would have broke if you hadn't told me that.
Why is that?
Because you have to inform me. As well, you mentioned GDPR.
I can film anything I want in public. You've just come back.
No, not you. No, you're filming it as a company. You're an officer working for the law. You have to, by GDPR rules, you have to tell me. Like the sign on the gate there saying the filming.
Rather than acknowledging the error, the officer responds by pushing back and stating, "I can film whatever I like in public," seemingly attempting to challenge the auditor's position. The remark appears confident at first, but the argument quickly begins to weaken. The auditor replies calmly, explaining that while members of the public are generally free to record in public areas, police officers using body-worn cameras must still follow specific professional guidelines. He points out that when officers record interactions, they are expected to inform people that filming is taking place and to follow proper procedures for how that footage is handled and stored. These guidelines exist to protect transparency and ensure that recordings are managed responsibly during official duties. They are part of the broader framework designed to maintain public confidence in policing. As the exchange continues, it begins to reveal what looks like a double standard. The auditor's photography in a public space is questioned, yet the responsibilities attached to official police recording equipment appear to receive less attention. Situations like this highlight why clear and consistent rules are important for everyone involved. When standards are applied fairly, it strengthens accountability and helps prevent confusion during public encounters.
So, what are we going to do about you filming? Because it's clearly causing annoyance to people.
That's not my problem. I'm in a public area filming. I'm not annoying anybody. They're annoying me, to be honest. They're actually annoying me.
Called the police.
And they're annoying me. They come out and annoy me. He did. They annoyed me. I don't report them because I thought, well, just go back to work and leave me to it. So if you think I'm breaking any laws, then please quote the laws I'm breaking. Because I'm not breaking any.
The situation begins when a worker notices a man filming nearby storefronts and quickly calls 911, describing him as weird simply for using a camera in public. In reality, the man, often called an auditor, is open about what he is doing and makes no effort to hide his actions. Recording buildings and businesses from a public area is generally lawful, and simple curiosity does not transform an activity into a crime. Yet the worker's quick assumption leads to police being called over something that presents no clear threat. When officers arrive, the response catches people off guard. Instead of calmly explaining the situation, one officer claims the auditor has violated GDPR. The auditor respectfully points out the misunderstanding. GDPR mainly regulates how companies and organizations handle personal data, not how a private individual uses a camera while standing on a public sidewalk. The officer then tries to shift the argument by saying he can film whatever he wants in public. In response, the auditor explains that while recording in public is generally allowed, police officers using body-worn cameras must follow professional rules designed for official recordings. Those rules often include informing people when filming is taking place and handling recorded footage according to clear procedures. This exchange begins to highlight what appears to be a double standard. The auditor's public photography is questioned, yet the responsibilities connected to official recording equipment seem to receive less attention. Situations like this show why consistency and a clear understanding of the law are so important during public encounters.
You seem a bit annoyed and that you can't get me on anything. That's wrong, isn't it, surely?
It's not the fact that I can't get you on anything, it's just that if you are causing somebody enough annoyance, and they're worried about people's private details being published on the internet and what have you, because there are certain things that are visible from to your drone camera.
Yeah.
And they are rightly concerned that those will be published on the internet.
Absolutely. Can be concerned. Put them inside. Because anybody, I can go on that public path and fly my drone. I could have done it secretly. I let them know what I'm doing.
Okay. But from their point of view,
yeah,
can you see why it would cause an annoyance if you are entirely in the right and you are exercising your right as a person to do something that they don't want you to do?
Yeah. That's
and
right.
you refuse to stop when you've been asked, even though it's their premises that are affected by your actions.
Well, they said there, we're highly secret, blah, blah, blah. They're a fragrance company. I'm like, highly secret fragrances? Really? You know, people really build themselves up to be bigger than they are, just to try to stop people exercising their God-given right, legal rights in this country. Legal rights in this country to video anything I can see from the public.
Many businesses sometimes act as though their internal policies carry the same weight as the law. It is not uncommon to hear staff members telling someone they cannot film from a public sidewalk, even when no law actually prevents it. Security guards, managers, or employees may mention terms like GDPR, privacy rules, or company policy as if those phrases automatically give them legal authority over what happens outside their property. In reality, company policies normally apply only within the boundaries of private property. They may regulate behavior inside a store, office, or restricted area, but they usually do not extend to people standing in public places such as sidewalks or streets. Public areas are governed by public law, not by the internal rules of a business. Because of this confusion, employees sometimes react strongly to ordinary activities like photographing buildings or storefronts. In some cases, they threaten to contact the police even when nothing unlawful is taking place. Situations like this can bring law enforcement into matters that are simply misunderstandings rather than genuine violations. Instead of recognizing the limits of their authority, some businesses interpret curiosity or documentation as suspicious behavior. Yet observing or recording what is visible from a public space is generally allowed in many places. Treating that activity as wrongdoing can easily create tension where none needs to exist.
Anything I can see from public place.
Does it not then become an issue because you can't see it from a public place because your drone is going into a private place to take these images?
It's flying over in the airspace which is controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority, and I obey all the laws for flying my drone. Civil Aviation Authority, there's no restrictions for flying in this area, on this estate, wherever, so I can fly my drone free will all over this place. I feel you're annoyed. I don't understand. You're not the feelings police. You've got to remember this. You're not the feelings police. You're here to feel.
I'm not the feelings police. I just find it incomprehensible that
But you're like him. It's not up to you to understand what I'm here to do. It's not up to you to understand that, is it? If I'm here and not breaking any law, then basically you need to just walk away and let them know he's not.
The situation becomes more concerning when the auditor eventually asks the officer to leave the area. In a routine encounter, a request like that should rarely be necessary. If no offense has taken place and there is no legal reason for the officer to remain, the usual professional response would be to disengage and continue with other duties. However, the officer stays at the scene, appearing more irritated than focused on any specific violation. As the interaction continues, the conversation moves away from clear facts and legal procedure. Instead, it begins to feel more like a personal disagreement rather than a matter of law enforcement. When an officer remains without a clear legal purpose, it can create the impression that authority is being asserted simply because the situation feels uncomfortable. Encounters that lack a defined legal basis can easily turn tense, even when the original activity is completely lawful. Moments like this highlight an important principle about professional conduct. Law enforcement exists to apply the law fairly and protect the rights of the public. When decisions appear driven by frustration rather than clear legal standards, it can create unnecessary conflict. Maintaining professionalism, even in uncomfortable situations, is essential for building trust. Clear judgment, patience, and respect for legal boundaries help ensure that interactions remain fair and that public confidence in policing is preserved.
Yard waiting to be picked up and people's, their clients' details, addresses and what have you are on display.
Tell me this, officer. Do they have the right to tell me to stop videoing?
I think they've probably got the right to stop you from overflying their premises.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're incorrect.
I think they probably do.
I think you're incorrect.
If you look at the contracts when you buy a house, the property you own, and you also own the airspace above it. It doesn't stop at the roof of the house.
Maybe you do. That's all a bit grey, but...
So if you're overflying their property, then that does become a point where...
Right. Can you hear in the sky?
Sorry?
Can you hear in the sky? There's an airplane flying over.
Yes, there is.
So has he asked him if he can fly over his property?
Just as the officer struggles to defend his position with shaky logic, an unexpected interruption shifts the focus. A plane flies overhead, drawing attention to the sky, and the auditor casually asks, do they need the landowner's permission to fly over? The officer hesitates, unable to provide a clear answer. The question instantly underscores a simple truth. Airspace is governed nationally, and aircraft, or properly operated drones, don't require consent from every property owner below them. That single comparison reframes the entire exchange. By linking the issue to something universally understood, the auditor highlights the weakness in the officer's argument. In that moment, the discussion about controlling public photography or airspace begins to unravel, revealing how easily misconceptions can be challenged with clear reasoning.
I think obviously if they don't want you flying over, like next to their businesses where there's information shown and things like that, I think they're polite, so politely have to stop. Obviously I appreciate you've said it's escalated. If they'd like you to stop, then just want to keep things,
Well, what about my thing? So what about me? I've come here to make videos and I want to make the video, so what about my thing?
Okay,
What about respect for me?
You could just please not get any kind of private information involved in that.
Well, that's not on me though, that's on them. You can't, if they've left private information out.
If you do publish these videos online,
Yep.
can you make sure that the information is unreadable?
I'll do my best if I think it's confidential, but you can't see anything. I'm 30, 40, 50 metres up. I can't even make faces out, you know what I mean? And everybody goes mad about it. It's ridiculous.
When a business truly cares about keeping information private, it safeguards sensitive material rather than blaming someone for observing what's already in plain view. Pointing fingers at someone filming from a lawful position shifts responsibility away from the real issue, how the information is managed internally. The auditor emphasizes this with a clear example. His drone is flying about 30 to 50 meters above the ground, making it virtually impossible to identify faces or read documents inside any building. This practical reality shows that the concerns being raised don't match the situation at all. Once this is explained, the officers fall back on what-if scenarios and emotional reasoning instead of citing any specific law that's actually been broken. When discussions drift into hypotheticals rather than grounded legal rules, it usually signals that there was no real legal justification for the interference in the first place.
Get that information out, I'm sorry. Do I need to? Think carefully what you're going to say next. I know there's one answer to this and it begins with N.
So the answer begins with
N.
N for
No. When I said do I need to?
well.
No, there's not a well, there's no buts to it. It's either a yes or a no.
It's open to interpretation. It depends, because if I feel that you've been involved in ASP, then yes, you do.
ASP?
The Police Reform Act.
What's ASP?
Social behaviour.
Antisocial behaviour?
The auditor calmly asks, do I have to give you my name? The officer responds, it depends. If I feel you've been involved in antisocial behavior, then yes. That answer immediately raises a red flag. The wording "if I feel" points to a decision based on personal judgment rather than clear, objective LAW.in reality. Legal powers aren't determined by gut feelings. They rely on defined criteria and evidence. Under Section 50 of the Police Reform Act 2002, officers can only request a person's name and address if they reasonably believe that individual has engaged in antisocial behavior. This ensures that the power is applied based on concrete grounds, not arbitrary impressions. When enforcement hinges on subjective feelings instead of factual evidence, it introduces a dangerous level of inconsistency. Police authority is meant to operate within specific legal thresholds, and keeping that line clear is essential to protect citizens' rights and preserve trust in the system.
Me for antisocial behaviour, for a man with a camera, then I think he'll be into a...
Suggesting that having a
I will take you to court. I will take you to court for
I'm
that.
suggesting, however, that you've been involved in an altercation, either one side or the other, and if I decide that that constitutes antisocial behaviour, then I can require you to provide me with your name and address details.
You can, if you think I've committed a crime. But do you think I've committed a crime?
Been involved in ASP.
No, if you think I've committed a crime, you can ask
Been
me.
involved in ASP. That's how it works.
If you think I've committed a crime, if you think that's right, you're thinking I've been involved in ASP, which is a crime, isn't it? So if you think I've committed a crime,
ASP isn't necessarily a crime, but one of the police powers that we have is to request the information from somebody who's been involved in ASP.
Right.
So you've been involved in an argument because you've refused to comply with somebody else's wishes. When,
This moment shows how laws around antisocial behavior can be misunderstood or stretched beyond their intended purpose. Simply refusing a request or asserting a legal right does not automatically count as antisocial behavior. People are entitled to exercise their rights without being treated as if they've done something wrong. These laws were designed to address serious issues like harassment, intimidation, or actions that genuinely disrupt others. They are not meant to police ordinary disagreements, lawful activities, or minor annoyances. Misapplying them in situations where no real harm exists blurs the line between proper enforcement and overreach. When vague interpretations replace clear legal standards, it highlights potential gaps in training or understanding. The true aim of these powers is to protect communities while respecting individual rights, and applying them carefully is crucial for maintaining public trust and ensuring policing remains lawful and fair.
You know that there has been a confrontation between you and somebody else,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
That to me is antisocial behaviour.
From his side, correct, yeah.
Okay,
So go get their name and address and all
We'll be
information.
going over there in a minute.
It's not antisocial behaviour, it's
Would
rubbish.
you like just to provide your details? Obviously, you've said there's been a crime of public order because they've shouted and sworn at you. You don't want to make a complaint. Would you like to provide your details to go on the crime report?
At this time, no. If I get home and I feel that I do need to, when I watch the video back and I do feel that it was bad enough,
Can I
then
give you the incident number then? Just to
yes, please, absolutely give me the instant. Yeah, yeah,
If
definitely.
you'd like to provide your details.
Yep. So I'll write that down.
It is.
Right, but you won't be getting my name because if I did it anonymously. So if you're thinking that I'm going to do that, so you get my name.
No. It's just obviously if you want to provide your details.
What's the date
Is
today?
there any particular reason you won't provide your details?
Yes, one massive one.
What's that?
I don't want to.
What would it gain by withholding your details?
What would it gain? Now, okay,
Lose you to the
right. So let me just reverse that back. So what it would gain for you if I provide my details, that goes straight.
Spoken to.
It goes, doesn't matter though, does it? It goes straight on your intel. You put this description, my name, all my details on your intel. I don't want to be on your intel. So,
Doing nothing wrong. What's the harm?
no, you can't use that. No, I have.
That's a question. I'm not using it. I'm asking you a
Well,
question.
yeah. Well, you can't say if you're doing nothing wrong, why don't you give your name? That's just rubbish, isn't it? I don't have to give my name, do I? And I don't want to. It's as simple as
That's
that.
fine, you don't want to. But what would be the harm?
I've just told you, you'll go on your intel. So it'll go against the incident, it'll go on your intel. I don't want to be on your systems, thank you. Exactly what I say about the record.
This moment reveals another worrying tactic. Officers pushing for personal information even when no crime has occurred. They frame it as routine or harmless. But in practice, it risks placing innocent people's details into police records without any legal justification. There is no requirement under the law to hand over personal information in these situations. By questioning this approach, the auditor underscores a bigger concern. The focus shifts from addressing real criminal activity to asserting control over ordinary citizens. Professional policing should always respect privacy and protect rights. Gathering personal data without clear grounds or consent damages public trust and weakens the credibility and integrity of law enforcement itself.
Somebody beats you up for the things that you're doing and you won't stop when they ask you to. You get beaten up and then we come across you. How do we know who you are? Might help us.
Well, I think when you come, I'll give you my name then. What?
We don't know. You don't want to give it.
Well, I would if I got beaten up and I'm going to take them to court ready to, or get you guys to do something about it. Then I wouldn't.
Anything else we can help with?
Not for me, no. I don't know if you want to speak to these guys,
We'll
but
have a chat with them over there, and obviously
absolutely.
things as well.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Very much indeed
All right.
for your time.
Thank you. Cheers. It's a walk of shame.
The encounter finally ends, not because the first officer recognized his mistakes, but only after a colleague steps in and calls it off. That moment says it all. This wasn't careful policing, but a chain of legal misunderstandings. From misusing GDPR, to demanding personal information, to stretching antisocial behavior laws, the officer repeatedly leaned on emotion and authority instead of actual legal rules. The auditor hadn't broken any laws, yet the situation kept escalating as vague interpretations were used to justify unnecessary intervention. This case clearly shows why recording police encounters matters. Without that camera, unchecked overreach can easily go unnoticed and unchallenged. That concludes today's breakdown. If you found this useful, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos.